All glory to Yah. Welcome to the channel. So I want to look at everything we know so far regarding the MPC Key 37 since its leak this past week. I'm milking this content. I know I've already done a couple live streams just looking at some of this stuff, but I'm milking it because I'm genuinely excited. So let's take a look at what we know so far. And then also some predictions. All right, so this was the leak a couple of days ago. It was put up on a retail site. I won't say the name. I said it before in the live stream that I did previously, but we actually got a price at $8.99, and this is where we're getting the bulk of our information as far as the specs. So let's take a look at what we have, what we're getting with this MPC Key 37, and see if it's worth the price and why it's priced at what it's priced at. All right, so some of the obvious things with the Key 37 is it's red. It's got 37 keys. I keep hearing people say that a kai in Japanese means red. I haven't actually confirmed that for myself, but I've heard it so much that I feel like it's fact. But one thing I hear people throwing around is mini keys, and to me, this is definitely not mini keys from the looks of it. So this says MPC Key 37 features a synth action keybed with aftertouch. With the MPC Key 61, from what I remember, it was a what is called semi-weighted keyboard. So I actually like the feel of that keyboard. I had my hands on it for a little bit. I've heard some people say they don't like it, so it is what it is, synth action, but at least you get aftertouch, so there's that. We'll have to see what it is, but it does not look like it's mini keys from the way that it's described here. As far as the pad goes, it says that it has the MPC 1 Plus pads, so they're the smaller pads. These are also the pads that we see on the MPC Key 61, so that's the same. And then if we look further down, it says that it has the 7-inch multi-touch display. So that's pretty much what the MPC Live 2, and the MPC Key 61 also have 7-inch display. And then right here it says 5 qlinks. I'm thinking that's either a typo or they're just including the big jog wheel in that wording there. So taking a look at what it comes with as far as plugins, it says that the MPC Key 37 ships with a core collection of sounds and samples from Akai MPC's industry standard plugins. There are 8 plugin instruments out of the box, including Hype, Odyssey, Mellotron, and more. This sounds like, from the wording, they wrote that it comes with Hype, Odyssey, and Mellotron. From that wording and the fact that they say there's 8 plugins, it sounds like it's not coming with any of the newer plugins such as Fabric XL, strings, the organs, any of the piano instruments. So none of that's included, because the 8 plugins that must be referencing are all the free ones that we got in updates, firmware updates. So if you've been on the MPC since the beginning of these new gen ones, then you had seen that as they updated stuff, they gave us a lot of free plugins before they started the new marketplace of plugins that they've been releasing lately and selling. My guess is, though, maybe there might be a free voucher that they include for a plugin to kind of get you interested in some of the other instruments and buying some of the other instruments. I'm saying this because I do know that when the MPC 1 Plus was released, they offered a free plugin. I believe it was a free plugin. It might have been discounted. So I'm thinking that might be something that they include, or maybe even a voucher for the stems option, since we've seen that they announced that stems is coming out pretty soon in the software and then likely in the standalone option as well. So maybe we'll see that as a voucher, maybe a plugin, and then who knows, because the announcement of stems may indicate that there's also a firmware update that is required for us to update to in order to have stems. And maybe with that, there'll be additional updates that we just don't know about yet, that they're waiting to release, because they're teasing us. First we hear about stems, we can't quite get our hands on it. Then we got these MPC key leaks. As in the past, we've always seen just about every one of these new gen MPCs. It's been a part of the marketing campaign. That's what it looks like. Let's take a look at the I/O that we get with the MPC Key 37. All right, so the MPC Key 37 features a built-in 2-in, 2-out USB audio MIDI interface, so you can record audio and MIDI directly into and out of your computer. The included MPC software is a standalone DAW on your Mac or PC, so you get all the tactility and control of the hardware, but with as many tracks as your computer can handle. So just looking at the I/O, I also have a picture that I can pull up here that will show us exactly what we get. So this was also another leak. And if we start from the left here, we can see we have an expression pedal, a foot switch of some sort, sustain, MIDI in and out, CV gate, 8 ins and outs, I guess. I'm not really into using gates. I never have, so I can't really talk on that. But that's included as it is in all of the newer MPCs. We have headphone jack, a main, left and right. So those are your outputs. Just a left and right input. Then you got a record volume knob and an SD card. So this is pretty standard. This is pretty bare bones. From the looks of this, we're getting the I/O pretty much of an MPC 1 because we have no additional assignable outs that you get with like the MPC Live or the X. Just the main inputs. The one, I'd have to look at it again and see if you get like, I don't know if you get like the, what do you call them? Phono ins. I believe you don't. So this definitely just looks like an MPC 1 I/O. But you, of course, because it's a keyboard, you get the expression stuff right there built in as well, you know, sustain and all that. Also, some other connectivity that we can see from the description here is that it works as a hub for your outboard gear, connect MIDI devices. But the keyword that I'm looking at is USB because of that, the last picture that I showed you there of the back panel, a lot of people were like, hey, there's no USB on it. When I thought about it for a second, realizing that this was just a partial picture of the actual I/O on the back, because of course we're going to need like USB to plug in to a computer in order to control the software. So over there to the right, you have that. And then from the looks of it and the sound of it, you get one USB input. Just like, since most of this I/O is very similar to the MPC 1, I would assume you get just one USB. And also, if we looked at the very first picture that was leaked of a box, a few boxes that were sitting out in front of I think a Guitar Center in New York, we can see the back panel. So what wasn't pictured in that other leaked image of the actual physical unit, you can see if you look over here to the right. It looks like there is a spot right there where you got the USB that goes into a computer, and then you have a USB port for adding, like, you know, a MIDI controller or an audio interface, USB audio interface device. Then you got like the power button, of course. And now I want to move over to probably the best high resolution photo that we got of the MPC Key 37 right here. I can zoom in and kind of guesstimate what some of these buttons are. So I wanted to speculate a little bit. It is dope that we get a volume knob, just like the MPC Live right there at the very top on the left screen. And then right above the pitch and modulation wheels, it looks like we have an octave up and octave down button. These are all kind of blurry, but from the top, I kind of guesstimated just from the shape of the lettering and then looking at my MPC Live that at the top we have track mute, and I'm guessing in the box there that might be pad mutes. Then we have a copy button, full level, 16 levels, erase button, and then note repeat. And then of course we got pad bank buttons at the top of the pads. And then right here is what's interesting to me. One thing that is super dope about, and it's so simple, but in my experience that was dope about the MPC Key 61 is that you have a dedicated sounds button. So you can get right into your sounds and find a new sound quickly. There's something about physical buttons that I like. So that looks like from the left, right here, from the left, that may be a sounds button. Now I can't read what that might be underneath it. Maybe it's like, maybe it's the edit program or edit sound, edit instrument, like, you know, with the shift combination or a double click there. I think next to the sound button, we may have a main button. The rest of these buttons are kind of difficult to make out. Next to that, I might guess that might be sampler screen. I'm not sure. And one of these looks like, if we skip one, it looks like a sequence. But yes, so these are new. This is a new placement of buttons. So it's kind of hard to say since we haven't seen buttons under an MPC screen. But moving over here, from the top, we have qlink that I can tell. I can make that out pretty well. Undo, automation, TC, so timing correct. Then it looks like we have an dedicated art button with a latch. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that on, maybe that's on the Key 61, but it's not. It's definitely not on the Live. From there, it looks like a metronome button. And then we have a keyboard control button. So just like the MPC Key 61. So there are added features that you don't get in any of the other MPCs because you have a keybed. So it's sort of like a pad perform mode, but rather than it being for the pads, it's for the keys, so you can set scales of the keys and stay in key if you need that. So that's there. And moving over to the right, you have tap tempo, it looks like. And then if we go up, I don't know. I'd have to look at maybe the MPC one to see what that button is with the white border around it. And then moving up to the top, I'm gonna leave that up to you. If y'all can figure out what those look like. I'm kind of lost at what they are. And then of course underneath, it's easy to see that we have transport, control, rec, overdub, stop, play, and play start. And I think that's actually a cool placement of where it's at, like right there to the right where I'd be sitting. So you got your left hand over here if you're going to do pitch modulation stuff. You got your keys. So it looks really cool. I think the layout is pretty nice. One thing I'm kind of upset about is that you don't have little touch strip. And I think that would have been cool to explore. It's non-existent here. But the layout looks cool. It's definitely something that I'm excited about picking up, because I had the Key 61, and I keep saying whenever I get to talk about this is that I couldn't find a place to keep that. Like, it literally takes up the whole desk. And then if I wanted to like switch through different gear, I'd have to pick it up, place it on the ground, like kind of leaning against a wall or something. And that just wasn't ideal for me. And I wasn't getting the time to actually play it because I'm just always on the go. That's why the live is so convenient. Now whether this is actually portable or as portable as the live, I think I'll have to wait and find out to see if they make a cool backpack for it. I prefer putting it on my back. Even if it's not, it's something that won't take up the whole desk space, that I could still put like my SP404 Mark II up next to it, MPC Live. I can easily take it off the desk. It won't take up enough room. I could tuck it away somewhere in the corner if I do decide that, because I always think it's cool. Every once in a while you get gas, so it's cool to have like a few different machines you can kind of cycle through in order to, like, if you're feeling kind of stale, just to kind of breathe new life into what you're doing. It's just kind of change your environment, change your gear, your tools, and all that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. That's about everything we know so far. I don't think I've missed anything. Yeah, so that's it, man. I appreciate y'all. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. I'm also hearing that possibly this might be released early February. So that's just like a week away, a couple weeks away. Very exciting. So I'll be picking one up for sure. How about y'all?